We will begin with Mike Kliss, 9 News.
Yeah, Sean, as much as you've struggled to run the ball here the first two games, Tyler Beatty goes in there and rips off a 16-yard run, looks good again, and then we don't see him carry the ball again. I was just wondering what all goes into that as far as the in-game running back rotation.
Yeah, look, fair question. And when we had the additional spot, and obviously with Audric down, then it's about trying to find touches for the third back. Much easier with a rotation of two, getting the third back involved sometimes in special teams, sometimes in the passing game, and obviously it was a good run by him, and it's something where you take notice of it though, and it's something as a play caller, as someone who's looking at the game, I've got to be able to see that. He is a player though who had his name on a lot of different plays that either were red zone or situational plays that we weren't able to get to. But it's not intentional. It's not like, hey, we're not aware. You're just into the flow of a game, and you have to be better that way.
Parker Gabriel, The Denver Post.
Yeah, hey Sean. Obviously, you want your quarterback to be able to play off schedule and off platform, and I'm just curious, sort of where the line is, especially with a young guy like Bo, in terms of you want him to make plays off platform, and then also, trying to have the footwork be on point when he does have time in the pocket.
Yep, I agree. So a couple things you see on tape. You see early on a struggle inside, which forces him out of the pocket. And then you do see later in the second half a cleaner pocket and then him hurry it. So it's developing the confidence of climbing, developing the confidence within the framework of your protection. He does have good pocket presence for the most part. He's not someone that's just going to look to take off and look to scramble. And so we got to build on that and make sure it kind of begins with that relative to the design of what you're trying to do in the drop back passing game.
Arnie Stapleton, Associated Press. We'll jump over Arnie and go
Sean,
to.
hey Sean, sorry. I saw
You there?
Mims, yeah,
Are you
Mims,
there?
yeah, I'm here.
Hello? Go to the next one.
Eric DeLala, DenverBroncos.com.
Coach, follow up on Bo. He said yesterday that he thought he took a good step in some areas, and he did acknowledge that doesn't always come with wins. When you look back at the tape, where were some areas where you saw him take a step from week 1 to week 2?
I thought he processed pretty quickly yesterday. I thought he got into some of his progressions really well at the line. He's in charge of a handful of things, and I would agree with him when I watch the tape. Look, I just finished talking to the team. We're getting in our own way at times relative to penalties, third downs. Our numbers have to be better. We have to look at the volume as a staff, as a coaching staff relative to what we're doing to be more efficient. But I would definitely say watching the tape, and it's not uncommon. You come in after a tough loss like that, and then you see some things you're excited about. We've got to separate a little bit more and give our guys better opportunities when we're getting a lot of match or man coverage. We're counting on the one-on-one matchups, and we need to get into some other schemes that I think can help that way. He had a handful of RPOs. He executed well. We'll build on that, but I would agree. I felt like we saw steps, and again, I think someone asked me after the game relative to his confidence. I feel a confident player, so I think from that standpoint, I'm encouraged.
We'll try Arnie again. Go ahead.
Hey Sean, I was wondering if, with regards to Mims and Franklin, do you think that maybe you need to get more speed on the field to sort of jumpstart this offense a little bit?
Yeah, look, we've got a few personnel tags. It's just trying to find the right the right combinations. You get into trying to feed too many mouths and then no one eats. So, but I think it's a fair question relative to the explosiveness or what we're trying to do down the field.
Andrew Mason, the fan.
Hey, Sean, what did the film show regarding pass protection and run blocking on Sunday?
Yeah, I would say we were inconsistent. There are times where we do a pretty good job, and there are times where we're either allowing penetration or getting beat maybe right at the snap. We've got to be more consistent. I think that's the one thing that you would definitely take away from it.
Darren McKee, altitude.
Coach Cortland Sutton pointed out, hey, it was a little bit of a rough start last year, and then things turned around dramatically. What can you use out of that experience from last year to flip the switch here?
Well, look, I think, and I had a chance to listen to Cortland. I think it does come from within, and so knowing how to win certain games, especially close games, and we've just finished 2 of them. Whether it's the penalties, the turnovers, we obviously the concerning thing for me is the rushing game, and then the rushing numbers defensively. Those have to switch, or you're just going to be playing behind the 8 ball. So no, I think, and I mentioned this yesterday to you all. There was a little bit of deja vu in the team I'd coached where we were 0-2, and then we had a game, I think, in Carolina, and then a game over in London. So it was kind of like a 2-game road trip. In other words, we were going to be gone and not coming back. We were going to practice the whole week in London, and this week sets up a little like that. And so every once in a while, you feel like you've been somewhere, or you've got, this has happened before. And so, I talked to him about, we're going to have a better idea. Now, it's not a make or break, but we're going to have a better idea of where this team is going to be after these next 2 weeks, going on the road to Tampa, and then, of course, practicing a week on the Eastern Seaboard, and then playing the Jets. So sometimes that can work as a positive relative to, your team is together the whole time. And but look, there's still no ways around it. We got to look right into the teeth of this and get better quickly.
Zach Stevens, DNVR.
Coach, Bo struggled statistically, at least, on passes 10 yards or more down the field in the first 2 weeks. What's to blame for that, or what's the reasoning for that?
Yeah, look, I don't know how many attempted passes 10 yards or more down the field. And so maybe you're referencing he just hasn't had as many 10 yards or more down the field. Look, we go in each week with a number of design shots. We hit Cortland on the deep third down dagger. Obviously, we hit the flea flicker. But there's more than that's called. And so now you're waiting for the right time. Sometimes you get the coverage look you want. But I think that 2 weeks in would be a little early for that.
Brennan Cristal, KOA.
Hey, Sean, yesterday you were asked about Bo's confidence, and you just kind of touched on it. So we asked him, and I don't know if you caught his answer, but it was obviously a pretty mature answer for a young guy. How much does his experience going through maybe some struggles at Auburn with all the expectation there kind of play into, what you liked about it beyond obviously his physical tools?
Yeah, I think a lot. I mean, he's been through, the firestorm, if you will. And so you're better prepared, you're better served, when it comes around again. And by no means, we're not like in that position right now. Obviously, we would have liked to have started better, but my point is, he's someone that I think by nature is confident in his preparation, in his ability, and is not going to be discouraged easily, if you will.
Chris Thomas in the Gazette.
Yeah, hi, Sean. You had spoken well, obviously, of Javonte Williams in training camp, losing the 11 pounds. Why do you feel he's off to such a tough start, and what do you guys need to do to get him going?
Yeah, it's a fair question, and I'd say it's probably a collection of all of us. And So let's start with design and scheme, and then let's get into some execution. I just finished looking at a play that, we gained 3 yards and it really should be a gain of 7 yards. And how are we blocking the backside of this? And do we need to clean that up? He misses a cut or two in the game. We need to make sure we get his eyes where they need to be. In other words, having coached that position before, it's very easy to overcoach. So, where's your key? There's usually one defensive player that you're keying on, and then he can predicate or dictate your cut. So, but no, I saw it in training camp. I look forward to seeing it this season. In the meantime, some of these other guys are doing a good job. Jalil's another one that needs more touches. We talked about Beatty earlier. So, you're patient, and yet, at some point, and it starts up front, obviously, but no, you want to see those runs.
Brian McFadden, Denver Post.
Hey Sean, I wanted to you mentioned you talked about just mentioned the flea flicker, excuse me. Could you talk about the decision making that went into calling that play? And is that something you'd like to see more out of the offense moving forward?
Yeah, I mean, look, we kind of go into each game with a handful of things that are off pace or change of pace plays. They're generally run midfield. And then how do you decide when to call it? I think there was a point in the second half where I said, hey, the next time we're, between the 40s, you guys get me to either this or that. There were 2 different plays. One was run driven, one was pass driven. So if you have someone assigned to that, then as you're calling the game and you get there, then right away it's like, hey, coach, and then you get right to it. So it's just changing things up. I think, I mean, it can lead to an explosive. It did lead to an explosive and put us at the 6-yard line. Unfortunately, we weren't able to take advantage of it.
Coach, that appears to be all the questions that we have for you today. Thank you
All
so
right, thank you.